Alrighty. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the BNR Racing Network. Alongside of me tonight is Will and Kyle. Good evening, gentlemen.
Yes, good evening, Brian.
So tonight we head into the Chicago Street. A little bit more of a smaller field here tonight. 28 laps. That's all they got. A lot of lefts, a lot of very tight turns of this tricky street course, but it is playoff race number 2. So I did hear only 1 to 2 points separate Josh and Bradford for that cutoff, gentlemen. So that's going to be the one we're going to have to keep a close eye on. So, well, since you're our NASCAR enthusiast here, why don't you go ahead and give a little thorough rundown of this left-right hand turn through the streets of Chicago?
Yes, the Chicago Street Circuit here, something NASCAR really wanted to do for about 10 years or so, whether it was in Chicago or another populated big city of America. Really wanted to try to get a hold of the right people, the right city, I guess, and just hold a race in their on the streets of their city. And Chicago was, I guess, right for the choosing. And talked with them on and off. Talks happened for about, I want to say, about close to 8 to 6 years or so, and finally struck a deal after just so happened after or during the COVID pandemic. And after it was during that they got iRacing here to kind of take scans of the streets or kind of do some mapping, I guess you could say, of the streets here of Chicago, and really laid the foundation work of what would be the layout of the street circuit here of Chicago. No really runoffs here. You do have some runoff areas in the braking zones, but very confined, wall to wall, so to speak. Fun fact, NASCAR had held a street race before in the NASCAR, what used to be called the NASCAR Winston West Series. I'm trying to remember what state it was in. It was in the Pacific West. Just trying to remember at the time. I want to say it was somewhere in California, maybe Sacramento. But that's not why we're here. We're here for the Chicago Street Circuit. So yes, like you said, Brian, earlier this year they raced the 4th of July weekend here. The Road America date got changed or kind of taken off for the Cup Series. Kind of a shame in a way that they only ran at Road America for 1 year or 2 years. My apologies. But yeah, pretty decent circuit, I'd have to say, for it. As far as like the layout, kind of almost what you would expect or imagine for a street circuit. It, like I said, it different. There are some elevation changes. You kind of do crest of kind of a overpass bridge going through an intersection. And very nice layout, I'd have to say. Once you kind of get a feel for the track and everything, pretty decent street circuit, I'd have to say. If you kind of look over in Europe, or even some of the street circuits that IMSA or IndyCar has raced over here in the States, or even look at the Toronto street circuit up in Canada that IndyCar races on, it almost reminds you of that. So, yeah, that's pretty much a GIF or like the history rundown that I can kind of pull together real quick, Brian, of the Chicago Street Circuit here.
And
So,
I appreciate it very much, Will, because, oh, don't worry, I am not out on track. That's to show my car right there. That is not me. I'm up here in the tower. But anyway, hello Diamond. Thank you for cheering us on. And Philip, always good to see you out there. Um, but yes, like I said, pit road, Will, that's another tricky one because coming right off the last turn there, it is a very quick, sharp right-hander there. So if you're going to hit the
quick,
pits, so
yeah, yeah, I would say it's a very quick and somewhat almost blind pit road entry. That's kind of the only downside or disappointing thing, in my opinion, of this circuit, of kind of how quick pit road can kind of jump out at you as you round out of the final corner. There, it just, yeah, that's truly the only kind of pitfall really with this circuit, in my view or in my opinion. But
yes. So
the new Detroit street circuit that IndyCar and the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge raced on earlier this year has a somewhat similar pit road entry, and um, also kind of a unique pit road when you turn into the pits and actually get going down the pit lane. The pit stalls are to the left and to the right, so that is kind of nice and different about that circuit. But like I said, we're not talking about others. We're here at Chicago, so.
yes, sir. So looks like only three of them are going to qualify. So that'll probably do it for that.
Samuel Archibald, Philip Bridgman, and Joe Stipe will be our three qualifiers out of the field that we have this evening. Kind of
Yes.
figured that, kind of others would kind of qualify that are here this evening, but they have, like you said, decided not to.
A lot of them don't feel confident in the track, but I said the only way to get better is to just go out to the track, practice it, don't like get used to the way the track feels.
Exactly. You're not really
So,
going to get used to running at a track unless you don't put, uh, the time or effort or the hour worth of practice that you give these drivers, worth of time. So I do agree with that. You have to make an effort to get to learn and know the track, to understand the braking and capabilities of which you are able to do. So.
yes, it's a wonderful scene there of the little bit of a fountain there. So we are going to keep a very close eye, Will, on Bradford and Josh tonight, because that's going to determine who gets in and then who is out. So it's going to be a
So
very
this
tight.
is
This is wait, no, it ain't. This is race 2 of the playoffs of the Xfinity. Yeah. So next week will be Atlanta, and then they head to the Final Four after that. So they still have one more race. So we'll just have to keep a close eye on that little closing gap there. So we'll probably get a lot more action. Excuse me, next week when they head to Atlanta. So
but nevertheless, every point that you can manage to muster or find, whether it be through changing a position, leading a lap, all the different ways of gathering extra bonus points in the BNR series of league here. So,
yes, sir. So now I am going to go over to starting grid here. So as we see here, Sammy Archibald, Philip Bridgman, Joe Stipe, Dave Berry P4, P5 Mark Berry, P6 Brandon Moore, P7 Josh Small, P8 Bradford, and P9 Campbell. So that's the current state there.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that neither Brandon or at least David Barry didn't attempt to put down a qualifying lap, but 9 drivers here this evening, so 9 competitors, so shouldn't really be too much of really stepping on each other's heels. I mean, it still can, for sure. You still have to try to give space to your fellow competitors, but just try to treat it like a typical, normal road course race, but always still try to mind the gap, and also, like I said, these walls. If you've ever seen a race at Monaco, for instance, like for Formula One, or racing at Long Beach, California for IndyCar or IMSA, these are basically those type of conditions. The track may be a little bit wider, but I mean, you still have concrete walls on either side, and it gets narrow on a couple of sections of the track, going into a few corners, braking zones, etc. So, got to be careful. And from what I heard, only about 25, 26 laps of fuel in a tank. So possibly we should for sure maybe see a pit stops. We know some of these guys are extremely well of saving fuel, so maybe perhaps they could go the distance, but very don't want to say in doubt, but still you could see drivers maybe cut this race in half, or maybe just get as far, as close to the end as they can, and then decide to pit, open up a big enough gap that they can to whoever they're racing around or amongst, and then hopefully have that big enough delta gap in order to get into pit road, get your service, then get out, and still either maintain the lead or that position you were when you entered pit road.
So Trady Payne's got a little mishap here. It's got random people and the wrong names on the paints and everything. So Bradford is not up front. That is Sammy. Myself is not in third. That's Joe. And there he goes, hitting that wall again.
That's kind of a little bit weird.
Yes. So this turn right here,
I guess,
this short little straight shoot, we're going to keep it very close high. No, it ain't that one. I think it's the next one. That has that very, very narrow passing rhythm. It might be that one. Oh. As they get ready to take the green flag here, Will. Green flag is out here tonight.
Yes.
At the Chicago Street Course, as these drivers head into turns 1 and 2. And just like that, oof. Contact has made between Joe Stipe and Philip Bridgman.
Mark Berry wasn't too sure. Like I said, or not like I said, but when I saw that happen, I just I couldn't remember who was supposed to be in what car from what you said, so I had to take a moment and pause there. Just unfortunate there, right off the drop of the flag, just going into turn 1 and immediately, get kind of blindsided or kind of broadsided by a fellow competitor. It looks like there was actually 3 cars involved in that turn 1 mess, and unfortunate for Phillip, just can't get going with all that damage, perhaps, and that's going to be a tough break for Phillip.
Yes, indeed. As you see there, that car that hit the wall was not Bridgman, that was Bradford. So,
Yeah, Phillip's got that quick dry on his car, so you can kind of make it out and kind of tell the 2 7s apart. Kind of very disappointing that
Trading
Trading
Paints has,
Paints.
yep, that's
Yeah.
what I said.
So yes, I mistook the gray car there for a moment, but
That would say Phillip is not in a Ford. Ford.
yes, I didn't see the Ford nose at first. I just kind of saw a 7 real quick, and that's so nice of things to glitch out when you really need it to work properly, and you kind of rely on
Trading
in a way
Paints
you
to at
kind of
least do
rely
its
on it.
job.
Yeah, exactly. But these
But
drivers trying to get comfortable here into a rhythm, everybody for the most part, but some of those drivers just probably going to have a real long recovery as Mark Berry uh, finally got it back to pit road, limped it around for that lap until he was able to get to pit road. So I think Joe might have towed it, but
well, you might as well say Huntley might have towed it because that's what's on his car.
right.
So, yep, I towed her back to the pits. As you see here, a lot of these guys carrying that wicked speed through this turn with a little bunny hop coming to that turn. I don't know why the track map.
A handful of these corners are kind of, I guess you could say, medium to low speed, and then there are a few about half and half. It's about a half and half ordeal about being low speed corners and then others being just high speed corners. So, got to be careful and kind of also remember where you are on track, I guess you could say.
Yes, Will, indeed, that is very correct. Um, like I said, there is quite a few passing zones. A lot of these guys will have they do have the brake markers up there, so
And sometimes what you would think would not be a passing zone can turn into one.
so as you see there, very unfortunate for Joe. Getting on the throttle a little too soon, the rear kicking out from underneath of him. As you see here, Dave Barry closing that gap in on Chris Campbell.
This car shows 38, and I'm like, wait, hold on. But yes, it's supposed to be 68, Chris Campbell, but it looks like Chris kind of let Dave go there. Smart driving there by Christopher. So faster fellow approaching, and just kind of always a good gentleman, sportsman-like deal to just kind of uh, concede that position, let your fellow competitor who kind of closed the gap on you and kind of fighting by. So Sammy Archibald, though, holding a pretty decent buffer, about a 3.5, almost a 4-second lead over Brandon Moore. Maybe could be 4 seconds by this time. So
Yes.
Sammy must have been doing some practice, or maybe just really likes this track a lot. We kind of know from past experience he kind of likes road course racing, if I can remember right. So, oh, okay, his car does say 68. I thought it said
Oops, sir.
Oh, that can be a very difficult braking zone to actually nail. We even saw that while watching the actual races, or at least the Cup race.
I was saying the
That
cup race, they
happened.
had a hard time there.
Yes. Well, especially one driver in particular, who we won't name any names, I guess. He did drive one of the cars that starts with a 4, ends with a 2. I could imagine we caught that late for Phillip. It looks like just a huge case of wheel hop. Looks like Sammy Archibald has decided to pit basically right when the fuel window would and should be open, perhaps. Another moment for Phil. And I would say, could be a smart decision pitting right as the window opens. So then that way you not necessarily possibly losing too much time on the person that could have been chasing you down, perhaps. So strategy on road courses is all about, in a way, sometimes how you make it. Like I said earlier, you could choose to kind of open up a gap, a comfortable enough lead in order to safely and comfortably, get in and out of the pits, still holding position.
Yeah.
Archibald's been in the pits kind of a good while.
Yes, he has.
Maybe speeding, perhaps, or
Could be. But you see here, Brandon just doing his pace laps around. Nobody close enough to him. At this time.
and I can't really tell that that yellow is very bright on Barry's name. I want to say that says 13 seconds. So about 13, 14 seconds. It looks like that Brandon has over Mark Barry. That looked to be at the last corner of the track or the circuit there. So at least I think it was. I think it was actually at a different part. No, that was at the last corner. So, yes, indeed. These Xfinity cars just very easy to wheel hop.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like the old Gen 6 cars were, or any really generation of stock car for that matter for NASCAR. It's more susceptible for the current gen or Gen 7 Cup car to really just lock up a tire or maybe have a bit of brake shake perhaps, and it could feel or kind of act similar to what it would feel like for wheel hopping to occur, but
Oof.
well, that's just sometimes, what you may face at any type of road course. You could face a driver just kind of having a mistake in front of you and kind of facing the wrong direction. Unfortunately, you never like to see or have have a car facing backwards, but sometimes it happens. Looks like Josh got back out on the track. I think that's Josh.
Yeah.
Could be
Behind
Ronald McDonald tonight. You never know with how Trading Paints is treating us.
Yeah.
So I only say that because the McDonald's branding all around the track had to throw something in.
Yeah. McDonald's and Toyota, and then Xfinity. So I think I got a couple of Chevy signs there. Then you got a McDonald's stretch.
Don't know what happened to Sammy. He, I guess he pitted and never came back out. So maybe could have lagged out or something, or who knows, Brian. That's very unfortunate to see Archibald out of the race or just off circuit at the moment, because he definitely has not came back out once he made that what I assume to be kind of just a scheduled pit stop, perhaps. But
That's what I thought. Oh wait, I didn't even check my messages here. Aha! Time for bed. I guess he's at work.
oh,
So there you go. See, gotta check the messages.
Well, let's just say his engine blew up, and let's just make believe and
Say that.
pretend and
Yes.
throw something spicy here. His car caught on fire.
There you go.
I mean, Alex Bowman's did. Why can't we say someone else's? Anywho, but yeah, pretty nice, easy-going race. Everybody's quite spread out here. And by the way, thanks for changing that bird yellow
To a green.
Yeah, to a more readable or more distinguished color. Makes it all better when you can make out and read.
Yeah, it does.
I feel sorry for all the blind people out there that can't read. I've always kind of wondered, maybe one day whenever you get older and get like glaucoma or cataracts or whatever, maybe I'll have to start to learn how to, read braille, or however that goes. Never know.
Yeah. Says here Mark Berry, and then behind him is Josh.
Could you imagine reading a braille Bible, Brian?
No, I don't know. That'll probably.
I feel
be
like that
rough.
would. Yeah, I feel like that would be like watching a horror movie for some.
Well, that would be horror movies.
When they get to,
sure.
well, whenever they get to certain parts of the good book, it. Whenever I was younger, my grandfather, he was a Southern Baptist preacher. Whenever he would get to preaching on certain topics, I guess you could say, I would just go run and hide. But that was just me. Everybody's different.
Oh yeah, we all are. Everybody's got their own things, and
You can really see how the car, the front end on certain parts of the circuit, how it just keeps traveling, just going across these bumps, these streets fairly bumpy it looks like, and like I said, it's not a flat, smooth track. That's for sure. It does have its little inclines and declines, and so you do go over a couple of overpass bridges, like I said. So it's almost as if you put a couple of rectangles and you kind of mash a dip in one of them, but you kind of put them like almost uh, catty corner to one another, like kind of uneven. And like I said, it almost looks like a figure eight if you look at it from above, or if you look at it from the track map point of view. Unfortunately, our track map is not working this evening. Kind of like trading pains, but yeah, it. Like I said earlier, I feel this track kind of grew on me the more and more and more and more and more and more it kept circulating, and once you kind of see it in an actual, like, there's one thing of seeing a track in digital development, not even been raced on before with real cars. It's one thing to see a race on a simulator that you can kind of get a feel or kind of get a gist of how the cars are going to play out or handle on the circuit. But then when you actually get to see a race on the actual circuit, it can kind of change your opinion, kind of change your mind of the circuit a little bit. But still, it's something different, and I think sometimes different racing series needs that something different. And in NASCAR's case, I'm just surprised they hadn't kind of done something like this a bit sooner.
I agree with you. So when they actually released this track on iRacing, they also released when we found out that NASCAR was going to the next gen model Cup cars. So they
Right.
released this track and the Cup cars at the same time. So everybody's like, "Oh man, let me jump to it. Let me jump to it." Oh, as Mark Berry makes contact with that inside wall there, or outside wall, outside, yeah. But as they go around the fountain turn here, but that's when this released with the next gen cars on top. That was the one thing that Dell did mention, like, you're gonna get 2 new additions to iRacing. We just won't tell you what they are yet. So, which we kind of knew that it was gonna be the next gen cars, and we just didn't know that they were gonna release obviously the Chicago Street Course. So, as you see there, Brandon is making his scheduled pit stop of the night.
Yeah, that's kind of another thing. Having having partnership with iRacing, and in a way, like, you can kind of engineer, like, basically computer technology has come so far, and if you think about it, kind of such a little time, and you can design all sorts of different things on a computer. For instance, a race car, and you can put it on a platform or on a sim and test it out, see how it's going to work, and somewhat perform. And while you're kind of developing a real life counterpart to that side by side, in a sense. And I mean, in a way, that's all fine and good, but you almost think you should do it opposite. You almost feel like you should design the car, get everything going with the car and then almost transfer it, to the sim or to some type of platform to learn more, kind of advance that project along further. Uh, but in this case, it was kind of done, like I said, it was drawn up for the most part on computer and engineered that way.
Yes. I
Who
lost
did
all
you say
my.
was in the gray 7?
Bradford.
Oh man, Aaron.
There we go.
Aaron had a tough moment in that braking zone as well. I want to say that's turn 5, isn't it? Turn 6. One of those.
Yes.
It's either turn 5, turn 6.
I gotta get
Just
the
a
overlays
very.
back up. I don't know what happened.
Oh, it's
There we go.
okay. Some. If it ain't one thing not working, it's sometimes all of the things not working. So we know that.
Should be coming back up here. But Brandon's got a steady pace, Will. For sure, indeed, he does over Dave Barry. 20 seconds.
Well, you think he took tires tonight?
Yes.
Well, yeah, I believe he did too. You would hope and want to believe that everybody took tires after kind of seeing kind of what transpired at Mid Ohio Tuesday.
Oh, yeah. There we go. We got our overlays back up. 15 laps to go. Coming to 14.
Yeah, kind of like what you said earlier. I think that points battle is really going to come down to the wire next week in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
Be
Because I do believe that is going to be a cutoff race. So,
right.
so everybody's going to try to scrounge up every ounce of points that they can get here tonight to have at least a comfortable points going into Atlanta. I'm sure a lot of them will be back for Atlanta. Some didn't have the track, some weren't going to buy it, which is understandable. It's not recommended. We don't force nothing upon everybody to get tracks that they don't want to. So, but that is alright. No harm, no foul. I just wish my track map would have came up, would have gave us a better positioning of where everybody is currently at.
Right, that's understandable. Sometimes just seeing a track map can give a good understanding or inkling about just not where everybody's at, but also kind of give a good mind about how the track is just laid out. So, like you said, just gotten to that point of the day apparently where I just can't stop yawning, unfortunately. Sorry. But yeah, Brandon just out there being nice and smooth for the most part, it looks like, just being comfortable. And Dave just kind of he's already locked into the next round, so if I'm not mistaken, right, David is.
Yes.
So that's why we have him highlighted in green, obviously. So David just out here for a Thursday night evening drive, one might say, just kind of learning the track just in case he ever comes back here again. Pretty much all of these competitors, for the most part, kind of, even though I know some of these guys have ran here maybe once or twice before, but
As you see here, Brandon Moore coming up on lap traffic, doing the best that they can to get out of his way.
we lost the overlays again,
Yeah,
Brian.
it's coming back.
No, okay. I just didn't know if you knew. But yeah, pretty, decent race, kind of as to be expected this evening here at the Chicago Street Circuit, BNR Xfinity Series, second race of, this is the first round, right?
Nope, it's second round.
Oh, second round, my apologies. I forgot what round we were in, so forgive me. But yes, indeed, so getting close down to the nitty-gritty as far as deciding who will take home this season's championship here in the Xfinity Series for BNR.
And I believe this is going to come to an end for Phil, as he's going to park it right over there and have to unfortunately tow back.
It's kind of funny how, not funny that Phil crashed out. Just I was going to say, very funny how some of the openings and kind of cut throughs and iRacing on a lot of the tracks, how you can just kind of drive, kind of into them. I guess you could say, like, for instance, a bunch of tracks you can drive into kind of the garage area and go to victory lane. I'm trying to remember a few of those tracks. You would know better than me, Brian, of which tracks. Yep. I want to say Phoenix.
Phoenix.
I'm just trying to remember where all I've seen it happen at, or seen them do it at.
So Brandon is setting a solid pace, which, by the way, he just bought it a little bit ago before they did go green. So
yeah, I would say both the Berries, and you just alluded to Brandon. So, like you said, a couple of these drivers, or if not a good majority of the drivers tonight, had to purchase the track. But like you said, if they wanted to, but they purchased it this evening and just tried to get a feel and log laps, get rhythm, and in a way just let the race come to them, because I think if Archibald didn't have to unfortunately meet his bedtime, we might be seeing Archibald winning this evening perhaps, but nevertheless, Brandon out to a sizable lead. He would need some type of
mishap to at least go, or a blown motor at least.
Oh, huge mishap, yes. You can blow your motor on iRacing, like you said. You can just be shifting, over rev the engine, and bam, kind of grenade it. So, got to be careful with your shifts.
Oh yeah, but 10 laps to go, Will.
Yeah, 10 laps to go, and Brandon has added about 5, maybe 6 seconds to that 20-second lead. So about 26 seconds that he has over Dave Barry in the 56 machine.
And then Chris Campbell still 1 lap down to Brandon, and he's got Barry ever so slightly closing in a little bit, not too sure. See there, Josh is just going to get out the way, let these two go.
from the looks of things, I almost want to say that Mark and Chris might be almost on opposite ends of the track. Like, go and find Chris real quick. Like, we see where Mark is. I would say that not too far. Switch back to Mark, because Chris is coming onto the straightaway there, the front stretch, and yeah, so actually maybe the straightaway length
Campbell's
as
right up
far
there.
as going. I would say they are the going into turn 5, like that straightaway, going into where we've seen a few people just, I guess you could say, outbrake or not break themselves enough. I want to say that's turn 5. That long straightaway before you get down there. I think that's how big of a gap they have from one another. So I'm not too sure how many, like what exactly the interval would be, but maybe 10 seconds perhaps of separation between Barry and Campbell as far as Mark and Christopher Campbell.
I would say.
That's just kind of spitballing it there.
So see there, Brandon's rear of the car is sliding out from underneath of him through that one turn. It happens every time as he comes by the start-finish line to take 8 laps to go.
Just about basically, that when you want to commit yourself to being on the throttle, how much throttle you want to give it through the corner or into the corner perhaps to get the car to turn in. Keep that momentum up in the car.
Oh yeah. But like we said, this is Brandon's race to win. If he doesn't, yes, we'll just leave it as that.
Yeah. As long as he doesn't find himself a tire barrier.
Exactly. And it takes one little mess up, a little slip and slide, and then these cars go around pretty quick.
Yeah, he could light the rear end up more severely than kind of what he's doing, going through some of these corners, and kind of spit himself out. There's so many different ways to lose a race.
We've seen that on Tuesday.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit of it on Tuesday. Just how road course racing, or really racing in general, can be. Just, you never know what's going to happen from one moment to the next.
7 to go this time.
Yep. I think David just kind of eventually just decided to just, hey, take it easy, just back it down. Some of these corners, just be very careful through. Don't want to damage my car, even though I am locked into the next round. Just want to learn this track. So just in case, do come back another time here or there, somewhere over the rainbow. You just never know when you might come back to another track or to the same circuit. So track time and just logging laps, always important.
So something happened to Chris Campbell.
Oh, that's really unfortunate, because Chris was really, podium finish he had perhaps going for him. Is this a replay of what happened to Christopher? the car just wouldn't turn for him, it looks like, unfortunately. He turned for the corner, but just, like I said, just couldn't get it to turn more tighter how he needed to. He turned for the corner, but the car just kind of went straight, unfortunately. And that's a pretty decent impact with the wall, so don't know what type of steering damage or toe link damage he could have maybe sustained. Doesn't look all that bad, but
No, but he might have wanted to fix it so he didn't get any
right.
slippage with the shifting and getting the gears caught. Because now that's a new thing here in iRacing. Once you damage your vehicle, now you can slip gears and stuff like that.
Well, if it wouldn't have been for that mistake, I don't know if Mark would have been able to catch Christopher. But Mark now in third position. Is third position the place to be? Almost seems a bit unlucky this race.
Yes, yes, it has. That's for sure.
Because got to remember, at the start of the race, Joe Stite started in third position, and unfortunately, just don't know if he had maybe a rear tire lockup or he just kind of missed the braking zone. One of the two happened, and just
I know he did
yeah,
collect Phil on that lap one incident.
Phil, and I think maybe Dave might have been he might have got a little clip. I'm not too sure. I saw a third car and it was orange,
So
and
did
I think
It might
David's
have
the
been
only
Dave.
orange car.
Yeah.
I think he might have came to a stop. He may not have been collected in it, but he was still sitting there.
Yeah.
But
5 laps to
maybe
go.
we'll get to ask him.
Up as Dave comes into the
Oh,
pits. Unless
has
these are
he pitted
scheduled
yet?
pit
Is that a
stops. Yes.
scheduled stop?
Yes. This is their second pit.
So,
So I guess they did have to pit twice.
I don't necessarily would understand why Dave would be pitting twice for. Maybe it is actually scheduled. Maybe he needs to, or he probably just wanted another set of tires. He just probably thought, hey, I'm this far back. Why not just get another set of tires? Maybe, you know, understand how the car will handle with another new set of tires on, perhaps.
So now Dave Barry in danger of going 1 lap down. If he
No, he did
hasn't.
go left down.
Oh yes.
Yeah, Brandon went by the pits, and Dave was still sitting in the pits.
Oof.
So everybody, at least one or more laps down, are out of the race this evening. So Brandon Moore, kind of dominating performance here this evening. Don't know what else we could call it besides dominating after Archibald
I
had to
think it
go.
would have came down to Archibald and Brandon.
Yeah, I think Brandon, after he would have got some more laps, a few more laps logged on the track, I think he would have started to run down Sammy perhaps. But we will never know.
Yes. But I'm interested to see how next week shakes up.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
for
it'll
sure.
be a very good race. especially for that last spot in.
It is the modern Atlanta or old Atlanta?
Um,
Because
I
I
don't
think
know.
we already we we raced at Atlanta. I think earlier in the season, right?
Yes.
Already in the Xfinity, so.
So 3 to
Well,
go.
that's nice, Brian. That we don't know which Atlanta it is that we're going to next week. That's nice.
More than likely, it'll
Just
probably be the Atlanta where they went to earlier in the season.
oh, okay, okay.
So the super speedway. A lot of these guys want the old Atlanta. Some don't. So that's
I was
why
gonna
we're
say,
like,
we could just throw a curveball and just wait till the day of the race to find out or something. Like just keep them guessing. Just. But that would be unprofessional of us, Brian.
oh, as
So
Mark gets by his brother.
yes, he does. I wonder. Well, I guess if they keep running like this, we'll get to ask him after the race. I was going to say, I wonder what type of issues David is kind of facing. But like I said, if it keeps being like this, we'll get to see or get to hear from him. Looks like David is actually kind of off the pace.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
So Brandon Moore coming to take 2 to go off the stripe once he gets out of this final corner.
As he crosses the line
Yeah,
now for 2 to go.
that Chicago scenery, that Chicago backdrop, you could say, all the different buildings and skyline that you can see, and
As Joe Stipe comes back out on track. 23 laps down. Brandon heads down that long straightaway into a left-hander, and then coming back up over the bridge to make a right-hander.
yes, I forgot to mention a lot of these left and right hand corners, 90-degree corners. So for the most part, there's a few of those at other road courses, like say Watkins Glen, for instance. You see a handful of 90-degree corners in either direction. So here is pretty much the same thing. 90-degree kind of blind corners because you can't really see through the concrete walls.
So right here, Barney the flagman is going to wave that white flag as Brandon comes by one last time to make a left-hand turn to turns 1. And then makes a right-hand turn into turn 2.
And then down this short chute, kind of straightaway that has a nice little kink in it here. It's almost kind of got a double kink because I wouldn't necessarily. I mean, you still got to turn in for that right there, but not as uh, not as much of a turn in as you see for say turn 1.
Oh yeah.
Looks like David was able to get the car back up to speed for the most part. It looks like so. Oh, as I say that, he found the wall. So, retract that last statement, I guess.
As Brandon Moore, Will, and Kyle comes through the closing last turns of the track around the carousel there, into a sharp right-hander here. over the bridge, down into another right-hander for the final time to take the checker flag here tonight in the BNR Xfinity Series from Chicago's Street Course. And Brandon Moore is officially your winner here tonight. Good race, some tricky ones, and to the last final turn for the berries. As Mark Berry will take P2, Dave will take P3, and then Campbell P4, then Josh, then Bridgman, then Bradford, then Joe, and then Sammy. And that'll do for Josh, as you see there. As Brandon will burn it down.
Yeah, I suppose this might feel a little bit, maybe a little bit of redemption for Brandon because of kind of how he lost Tuesday night's truck race. So normally I kind of go to say that, if the competitor that kind of lost the truck race wins the Xfinity race if they show up for both races. So
All right. So we'll go ahead and talk to Dave. Mr. Barry.
Hey, how's it going?
well, it just going pretty good, Dave. Seemed like you kind of really, I don't want to say struggled there at the end, but something happened to you there, Dave.
Yeah, I just couldn't get nothing going tonight. I got behind early and then just drove too hard and got into a race with a lap car and lost visual on where he was at entering a corner, stayed out a little wide and ended up hitting the wall. So my night just kind of just trying to fight back a little bit, and I just didn't have it in me to go forward. I didn't realize I fell out of second, though, so I guess I wasn't paying attention too well.
Yeah, Brother Mark got by you during that late race pit stop. You had to take there. What you had to take the second pit stop for, or is that just
Brandon was just checked out. I mean, checked out. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to go in, get me some tires, and run some cool laps real quick, get some optimal pressures in them, and then see what kind of lap I can lay down as a qualifying lap, just messing around. And because there wasn't no way I was going to run him down. Then next thing you know, I'm a lap down, but I didn't realize I'd lost second.
Well, that's basically what I said to Brian. I figured that you went in to, I didn't think that you guys were going to have to make two pit stops, and I kind of figured, well, you were so far behind Brandon, like you said, that you probably just wanted to see how the car was going to feel with another set of tires on. So I was spot on there. So that's nice to know.
Yeah. Plus,
But
I wanted to remind Brandon that tires is really good in one of these road course races.
yeah, yeah. Uh, I made the comment to Brad. I'm like, I bet he took tires tonight.
Oh yes.
I'm sorry. I probably won't ever let Brandon live that one down. But yeah, just Brian told me that you and Mark bought the track earlier. Just as someone who kind of not really familiar with the track. What were you possibly struggling with in practice and also into the race?
A lot of it was finding breaking points. I just
Right.
I was having trouble finding good markers, and you know it seemed like every once in a while I just figure something out, and then I miss it the next lap. So I just need to turn more laps here, and I think maybe next time we come here, maybe I can battle up front with Sam and Brandon, because Sam was pretty quick too, and I guess he lost it, but I hate that for him.
I think he had bedtime actually. Something. I'm not fully sure, but I think he just had to actually just to eventually just park it and uh, just kind of retire from the race. Unfortunately, but that's just how it goes sometimes for everybody. So really would like to see Sammy, get a good, nice, smooth, incident, mistake-free race, and see if he could be there at the end of one of these things, one race. I have a lot of high hopes for Sammy if he could get all the things that you need to get right to be there at the end of one of these things. There, David.
Yeah, being
Um,
fast is one thing, but being consistent and fast, that's a whole different ball game. So,
yes,
Brandon tonight, he was consistent and fast and ran a nice mellow race, and he proved that he's a really good road racer, a good racer in general. So, you just got to find that right, I don't know, just that right feel, I guess. But it's not all about being fast all the time, that's for sure.
exactly. Good point. Not all about always being fast. Good point. Because sometimes you can overdrive yourself into those mistakes while being fast and setting those quick lap times. Um, Next week, by the way, going back to the mile and a half of Atlanta. Um, we saw earlier in the season that race kind of was plagued early in the race with just some kind of cautions that you just mistiming of some wrecks and just kind of how that package I guess can go with racing at a super speedway that they unfortunately turned Atlanta into. But what's your expectations and everything going into Atlanta next week there, David, as that I do believe would be the cutoff race to go into the championship for, see who goes in there.
Uh, for me, next week is just about survival. Just try to keep from having to repair the car, and just log laps, and wait till the finish to start doing any real racing. And in my opinion, but me and those kind of tracks just don't get along too well. So I just either need to step up and start practicing them more, or I'm going to end up finishing outside top 10 every time. It just seems like that's what happens to me. So we'll see what happens. Just want to keep the car under me.
Well, Dave, that's some good insight. Just log those laps. Just be there. Hopefully, at the end of the race, in those type of situations, and also races with those types of packages. Um, got any shout outs or anything else you'd like to add tonight there, David?
Yeah, I want to, thank the broadcast. You guys do a great job. I love going back and listening and watching it, and so it's always a fun trip to take down, the memory lane, I guess you could say, being that I just ran the thing, but I watch it the next day, so it's just fun. And so I want to shout out to you guys. I want to shout out to Brandon for an awesome race. I see Mark got around me, so nice team day, second, third. So good job to the team and good job to Mark.
Yes, indeed. Well, thanks for talking to us, David, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. Good. Now we'll talk to old Mark. Well, here's the other brother. Good evening there, Mr. Mark.
How's it going?
Well, it's
Going
going all
pretty
right.
good. Go ahead, Brian, if you want.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, Mark, like we talked about with David, kind of new to this track here, the Chicago Street Circuit. What was your take of the circuit?
I like the road course. I think it's a lot of fun. I just didn't really make it out of that turn two there.
Yeah, it was kind of a treacherous turn two for some competitors. Turn one and two on the opening lap was very treacherous. Um, Talk about how kind of difficult it can kind of be navigating through some of these corners, Mark.
Well, it's all about your braking, and sometimes you just have to back up the corner just a little bit just so you can carry your speed, but also get your car straight and pointed so that way you can apply the brake and stuff. And then also on the exit, you want to get your car pointed straight before you get into the gas, but you still have to go easy into the throttle.
Right on. Kind of what what kind of problems or maybe issues were you dealing with throughout the race, Mark?
Actually, I really didn't have a whole lot of issues other than just drive off. Once your tires get a little worn out.
Mm-hmm.
I caught everybody at a perfect time when everybody was pitting, so I really didn't have, really to battle anybody for a spot or to pass. So luckily, I caught everybody in the pits and just really never just had an open track the whole entire time.
Yes, it's always great having clean open track, kind of to yourself, so then that way you can set your own pace. Um, Next week is Atlanta, so earlier in the season, we kind of went there, so we're going back there again for the second time later in the season in the playoffs. Super speedway package type deal, what they turned Atlanta into. Earlier in the season, it was kind of early caution filled race, and it got pretty stretched out towards the end as far as it was almost a race of attrition. Uh, what are you looking forward to going into the race next week?
Well, I'm gonna have to show patience and just kind of with the points situation and stuff. I'm just gonna have to just kind of pay attention to who I'm around and who I'm surrounded with, and just kind of just take my time and just try to get to the end of the race and keep the car intact.
Yes, indeed, that's always crucial. Your brother talked about it as well. Just trying to just log laps and kind of be there at the end. Hopefully, uh, like you also alluded to, just be in the right position as well. So hopefully, that will go your way. Like you said, points, how points are and everything uh, can come into play. And have any shout outs or anything else you'd like to add about tonight's race, Mark?
Just thanks for the admins and what you guys do and the broadcast. We appreciate you guys uh, and just thanks.
Well, thank you, Mark, for taking the time after the race to talk to us, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
All right, thank you guys.
No
Thank
problem,
you.
bud. Last but not least, Brandon Moore.
What is up, Ryan?
Not much. Well, you end up doing good from buying the track, just like I said earlier. So
I was just Sunday cruising.
I was gonna say. I know Archibald did have to pull over. He had to go night night. So
I
of
don't know what
course,
that was about.
he pulled over. He had to go to bed. So
Oh, is
for
that what happened?
yeah
I just
for
seen him
work.
nosing in the wall and then even.
He could have. I probably didn't catch that one, but I would say overall, congratulations on your first time ever here on the Chicago Street Course. You didn't step on your foot tonight.
Oh,
And
I didn't even push the car. That's why I said I was Sunday cruising. I think about the only time I touched the walls when I was getting around the spinner.
which was probably Phil.
It was somebody. I don't
Yeah,
remember. I think it was Phil. In that
yeah,
one right-hander, I was just like, nope, not me.
yes. Well, Brandon, overall, why don't you describe how the overall feeling of the track was throughout the run, and then just the overall performance of your car, how it was handling through those constant right hand turns and left hands, and then trying to finesse a little bit around the lap cars.
I think the car drove pretty good on freshies, especially. But as the tires wore there, as abrasive and bumpy as this place is, you mainly start losing rear grip, and especially under braking. I had to go up on the brake bias because I was chattering the rear tires under braking, even as light as I was braking into the corners. But the main thing was just keeping rear grip, keeping the car under it. You had to really focus on not overdriving the car. Uh, but it was fun. I had fun.
Yes, sir. Next week is Atlanta.
Yep.
What's going to be your overall strategy going into Atlanta?
Atlanta, I'm gonna be chilling. I'm locked in.
Yes, you are locked into the Final Four.
I'm gonna go watch them guys go up there and beat each other's brains out.
Uh, that's
There's gonna be some hungry drivers up there.
there is. There's going to be a lot of it. Trust me. Um,
But it
that's
should
for
be
sure.
fun. I'll probably just do my usual strategy of hanging in the back, and then if for some reason I find myself up there at the end, I'll be there. If not, we'll try to salvage a top 10.
Hey, that's all that one can hope for. Will you got anything for Brandon?
Well, just congratulations, Brandon. I would imagine that tonight was kind of a bit of a redemption race for you after kind of the way you lost at Tuesday's truck race.
Absolutely.
So,
I took tires. I found out what tires would do, Will.
well, that's great. I kind of figured, I
Will,
asked Brad.
did you know this is a fact, not many people know this, but new tires have more grip than old tires.
Wow, I would have never known. I would have. Thank you for telling me that. See, I
Wild
fell off the
fact.
turnip truck yesterday, so I wouldn't have
Not,
known about that.
yeah, many race car drivers don't realize that. That's the fact they overlook.
Yes, thank you for telling me that. I would have never known in all my years of experience. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Glad I can help you in your endeavors.
Yes, I have to keep that in the bank and remember that. But yeah, congratulations on the win tonight, Brandon. Hopefully,
I just didn't want to
that,
step on it tonight. It was still sore.
yeah, I can imagine jumping through the hoops you did to lose the race. On yourself.
We ain't doing it. We were chilling.
So
I about did it one time though on the long straight. I pushed it a little bit too deep. I'm like, no, 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 no.
yeah, I think we saw that time. I was like, oh, almost bit it, but
Yeah, I
Didn't.
forgot the downshift. I got the talking to David, and I forgot the downshift.
Oh, see, I think he wanted you to talk to him. You know,
I think he did.
I think he was wanting that. But yeah, Brandon, just I think this for sure locks you and David into the Final Four, right, Brian?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. That's what we were
So,
talking about. We're going to have our own little party in the back, and we're just going to eat popcorn and drink some drinks and then watch these nutcases go after it.
so well, best of luck to you next week in those endeavors. You know, just trying to be there at the end of the race to try to get another win that you know you don't necessarily need because like we said, you're locked into the playoffs. But you always want to try to get those
Oh
wins if you
yeah.
can.
No, if we get up there, and I'm gonna hang out in the back, and if we're there and we have a shot at a run, we're gonna take it. We're gonna send it.
If I can remember how it was earlier in the season, it was wasn't it you and Jacob and
Oh yeah, that's what I won that. I remember that now. I was telling David, I was looking at the previous races, I was like, fifth race of the regular season was New Atlanta. I don't remember winning this. And now that you mentioned Jacob, and I'm like, yeah, I remember that. I took that sucker 3 wide. I went
yeah,
3
you
wide
did.
middle.
Yeah, I remember it being a bit of a chaotic race at first, and then things played
Yeah, that
out, and
was
then
cool. I come from
late.
like P7, like on a restart.
Yep, you came like a bat out of there. Yep.
Well,
So
you don't
got
side suck each other. You can't do that. You allow
oh my.
stupid stuff like that. You gotta
Yep.
get off them quarters.
Us and our southern slangs. Anywho, but
Will's getting tickled, ain't you, Will?
yeah. I gotta stop myself sometimes from saying other stuff or just laughing too loudly. But do you have any shout outs or anything else you'd like to add about tonight's race?
I just want to shout out all the drivers who came out here to participate. Everybody who watched the race. Hope they enjoyed it, and hope everybody comes out to watch New Atlanta. That one will be a barn burner for sure. And maybe we can get 2 in a row. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, it would sweep Atlanta this season in the Xfinity Series. So I'm kind of like you. Can't wait to see what next week's Xfinity race at Atlanta kind of holds in store. Um,
As a matter of fact, what these drivers will do to get in the playoffs.
Right? Exactly.
What are they willing to do? Somebody might be getting hooked. Who knows?
Yep. you never can tell how far the lengths of a driver will go, to try to make that championship for, like you're saying. So,
yep. How bad do you want it?